So the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. All our clocks are ticking. It's really important to remember that. And what I'm going to talk about right now for the next 3 hours is, there we go, we've got a laugh. We've got 15 minutes. Listen, the clock is ticking. Your best chance of success. That's what this next 15 minutes is about, your best chance of success. So this whole COVID thing, everything's been going on and you know, normal coping mechanisms kind of didn't exist. And I remember my mum, this is my mum, 76-year-old, the wizened owl. She looked after me as a single parent. And she said to me, she rang me up and I'm dealing with business, like proper dealing with it, like right in the maelstrom of everything that's going on. And my mum rings me up and starts talking about Hamish, her little dog. And then she's talking to me about sprouts, Brussels sprouts. And I'm like, Mum, I've got like, I need to go. She said, you sound stressed, son. I wasn't, Mum. I am now, right? So this is the thing that's been going on. Everything was going on with COVID. I'm trying to keep my business alive. My mum wants to have a nice conversation. Now, maybe, just maybe, what's really important in life isn't the business bit. What was really important in life was talking to my mum about sprouts. Right, was talking to my mum about Hamish. She said, you sound stressed, son. I said, I wasn't, Mum. You know why? Because I understand about stress. Why? Because, 2012, I had a nervous breakdown. I'm all right now. Boom, right? I'm all right now. But so I went through it at the time. I kind of lost control of everything in my life because I was so focused on business success at any cost. And that cost was to me. What ended up happening is I wanted to quit. I was overweight. I'd lost control. Everything had gone wrong. You know why? And that's why I don't believe that I was stressed. Because I had balance, right? I had balance. That's what life's about, having balance, isn't it? And that's great until, of course, this happens. Now, I had balance beautifully before all this COVID thing came about. Beautifully. You may well have had it. You had these coping mechanisms, the way that you deal with your life, your time, your kids, your family, your work, everything was cool. And then all of a sudden, we have a situation where it's all out of balance. And we're still trying to work our lives like this. And yet it's all out of balance. So the point I'm making here is this. The things that worked back in January, February for your life, for your world, for your business, for your life, for your kids, for your family, may not work anymore. So maybe it's time to readjust. Now, I know me as an individual, and what I mean by that is I'm the only person who's walked my 47 years on this world. And am I Brad, the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, or am I Brad, the guy who's done 4 years on benefits? Am I Brad, the guy who left school with no qualifications, whose dad left when I was 6 months old? Or am I one and the same? Because something changed in me. And I'm going to give you the secret in the next slide that something can change in you. Because you can't outperform your self-image. See, I always saw myself as a Salford Street kid. And guess what I was? A Salford Street kid. I couldn't get beyond that. A fish will only grow as big as its fish tank. So you go and put a shark in a small fish tank, it'll grow to 8 inches. You go and put a shark in the sea, it'll grow to 8 foot. This is so important, that your self-image of who you are, of what you stand for, is as big and as vast as the ocean. If I would have kept myself, my thinking, my small-minded thinking, small, I would never have become this guy who could present. I'd never become this guy who started his own business, who had the strength and courage to do that. I'd never become this guy. I'd have been what society told me I should be, a Salford Street kid. But you know what I did? And this is what's great about the APA, is you can't outperform your environment. So when you're surrounded by powerful people, by people who want the best for you, you've got more chance of succeeding. You are made up of the 5 people that you associate most with. Just think about that, right? You're made up from the 5 people that you associate most with. My peer group is greater than it's ever been. Imagine that I'm going to give you a goal. And I'm going to say to you, I want you to run 100 meters as fast as you can. As fast as you can, 100 meters. You'd run as fast as you can. You know, time like mine would be like 10:4, something like that, you know. Maybe under 10 actually, right? Get out of it, right? The days of running, trust me, I ran for the train the other day, right? Sorry, the other day, it was before COVID, and I remember thinking, yeah, not as young as I once was. But imagine I tasked you with running 100 meters as fast as you could. You'd do really well. And I would say, is that your best time? You'd go, yeah, absolutely, Brad. Now imagine if I said to you, I want you to run that same, rest up for an hour, and I want you to run that same race, but give you £1 million. Do you reckon you could beat your time? Of course you could. So what changed? Your motivation. So every single time that I kind of get myself fired up, what I do is I kind of put that in there as motivation. Think about that. Now, you'd have done your best time ever. Let's say you've done your best. First time was 14 seconds, 15 seconds. The next time was 14.9. If I go and give you £1 million, you do 14.8. Now, imagine if I put a tiger behind you. Do you reckon that you could beat your original time? Of course you could. What's changed your motivation? Now, this is what you need to understand. I need you to get into this motivated state, to fire yourself up. And if you can't fire yourself up and get through and find the strength and the courage that you need right now for you, do it for someone you love. Do it for your mum, do it for your grand, do it for your children, do it for your partner. Find that courage. Now, this is what I ended up doing over the course of these last 7 months. I had to dig really deep because at times it got tough. At times, I've been scared. Reality of it. But you know what? You're a tiger. And you think, yeah, all right, it's truism. So what motivation speakers say, you're a tiger. You're a tiger. The eye of the tiger. Yes, you are a tiger. Yes, you are a tiger. That's what I turned into. A frigging tiger, right? That kind of tiger. Mini cheddars. Right? Because when I'd go panic buying, instead of going buying a pack of 6 mini cheddars, I'm buying 96 packs of mini cheddars. Right? Because I don't know the next time. I've got literally 96 packs of mini cheddars at home, or I did have, but I've eaten them. Because these coping mechanisms, mini cheddars, what is your coping mechanisms? Maybe it's not mini cheddars, maybe it was red wine. Have a little glass at night. Or maybe you have a tot of brandy, and that tot of brandy now it turns into 2 tots of brandy, 3 tots of brandy, and before you know it, you're doing half a bottle of brandy to get you by. And now you're not sleeping well. And now you're waking up the next day, and now you're having more espresso and espresso. And here's the thing. If I go back to when I started prior to this whole situation, I was good. I would go to the gym 4 times a week. And when I'd go to the gym, drive to the gym, I'd speak to a friend of mine for 20 minutes. Then I'd go to the gym, listen to 45 minutes of drum and bass. Then I'd drive back, speak to another friend of mine. Coping mechanisms, that's gone. And it was replaced with mini cheddars. Hashtag mini cheddars APA. And it was worse than that because it was replaced with Nespresso and Jaffa cakes. Jaffa cakes. No point in buying just one packet because you don't know the next time, so you might as well buy loads of Jaffa cakes. The point I'm making, people, is this. This was what was going on at the start of the year. I had my life in order. The next thing, I'm now living like this to get by, to function, to operate at this high level. Because that 100 metres that we was running, we was all running that for months. This wasn't just 100 metres. So you think it's just 100 metres at first, and now you're into a 1,500, now you're in for a marathon, and you're still running at that pace. Because why? Adrenaline is keeping you going. Adrenaline is keeping you going. Adrenaline. Adrenaline. Let's go back to the whole thing about village. 10,000 BC. All of the women would be doing the real work while the men sat on their ass. And then all of a sudden, a saber-toothed tiger comes into the village and all the men, they get the spears and we chase it for an hour and we kill and we slay and then we go back to sitting on our ass. Right? Adrenaline would allow you to do these unthinkable things. We have been in fight or flight for months. Adrenaline. Have you ever been in love, intoxicated, and you're like, wow, you're impervious. That's why we do crazy things. Let's get married. Just met someone, let's get married. Intoxicated adrenaline. And here's the thing. This whole situation, either here or here, you kind of stop noticing. You stop noticing. You stop noticing that that's what you're living like now. I've got type 2 diabetes, right? You know why? Because my thyroid. No, it's not. It's because like Jaffa cakes, right? For 47 years I've eaten Jaffa cakes and egg fried rice and right? Nothing to do. I'd love to say, oh yeah, it's the doctor's fault because no, it's my fault. Personal responsibility. So now these start causing me a big problem. They never used to, but now because of the excess of that I was eating them in, boom. So you stop noticing the adrenaline. And that's cool. That's cool. You can go on for a bit. When is the finish line, people? When? Because when you first started that race, you thought it was 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4. When's the finish line? So we need you to prepare, because when that adrenaline runs out, then what? What happens when your adrenaline runs out, when this is no longer working, this is no longer working, this is empty, your battery is empty? What happens? I'll tell you what happens, this. 14 weeks ago, this is me in bed. I dropped my mum off, having talked about Sprouts, right? Having the lockdown been broken, effectively, right, when we could meet again. I dropped my mum off, so I was keeping all that energy. This was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I came and had to lie down, and I couldn't move. I couldn't move. I was like a 90-year-old man. It took me 3 seconds to walk to the loo. It's now taking me 15 seconds. I'd gone. Why? Because my nervous system had shot to pieces. That's what they call a nervous breakdown. It's gone. I had no strength, no courage. I ended up, my head was fused, flashes coming in my brain. Didn't know. My wife said, "Do you want a cup of tea or coffee?" This is me. I said before that your biggest chance of success is this. When that goes, you are finished. I thought this might be a permanent fixture. It wasn't. It took 2 weeks to get fixed. People, think about this, your brain, recovering the intensity. Think of it like a bank account. You guys work with ledgers all day long, right? Think about a bank account. If you're in the black or you're in the red. Think about it right now. Whereabouts are you? Are you in the black in terms of all good, or are you burnt out? Think about where you are right now. Because, oh, well, I'm going to have a day off next week. We're going to go to the beach and we're going to go have ice cream and fish and chips. What, and you think that suddenly goes from there to there because you've had one day out on afternoon? No. People, trust me, this is the world that I move in. It caught me out. I had no idea because the adrenaline was shielding me from where, when my mum said, "You sound stressed." Stressed me? You've got it all under control, Mum. So what I've moved to is this. This is how I work now. Burst work. I work with 1 hour of mad intensity in the mornings. And then I just coast. I'm reactive. And in the afternoon, I do 1 hour of intensity. It's like a boxer. You end up, first round, 3 minutes, boom, 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 boom. 10 rounds in, that 3 minutes feels a whole lot longer. You've got no output. You are better working like this. Do consider this APA community, please. And true success, it's all connected, all right? What you do in these 24 hours, trying to get this balance in your life, trying to get the balance in your life, in your world, wealth, happy, health. And so it continues. We think that we'll make a load of money and we'll sort all this out. Doesn't work like that, I promise you. So you've got to find this, but this whole thing, this COVID situation, this lockdown that we're in, is not going to be won on strength. The way that I work is mad intensity. Burst working. But I've been burst working at that mad intensity for 6 months. So this is not going to be won on the same strategy that I would normally win. It's going to be won on stamina, not on strength. So I need you to consider that as well. Are you burning yourself out here? Punching cobwebs, putting too much weight behind things that don't require it? Feeling that by putting the weight behind it, you're going to get out of it quicker. We're not. And the final session that I'm going to talk about later, I urge you, please. I've told you that these are all independently contained. However, that final session later on this afternoon will make all this just like boom. It'll make sense. So what I need you to do, people, is this. I need you to build in the slack. You know, since that burnout, I've not had a single pack of mini cheddars, right? I'm not joking. They make me revulsion now. Revulsion kind of takes me back there. I've not eaten a single one in the last 14 weeks. I was doing 3 packs a day in. Coping mechanism. So what you've got to do, you've got to find a way that works for you right now. And you've got to build in the slack in all areas of your life because we don't know what's coming. We've got no idea. But what I do know is that this is going to be for here. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially. But we, as a collective, will get through. We will. You know, let's put this in perspective about my mum's list that she said. Bombs are not dropping on the UK, all right? We are the lucky ones. People, right now, where are you fighting this? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially? Because I don't care where you think you are, this is the one that you need to be focused on. APA conference. The final session that I'm going to do later on this afternoon is this. The show must go on, and the show will go on. Thank you very much.